keyboard and some tea lives a man with a funnel plan as clever as can be. He ditched his law degree for plugins that go zing. Now WooCommerce dances every time he pulls a string. Hey, evil genius! He's got
there it is. Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Spence. And I've got a test that's going. Hey, we got a good start today. Actually got live. It is Friday, January 9th, 2026. It's going to be a while till I get used to saying 2026. I hope everybody's doing well today. I've got a really awesome show lined up because I have so many new developments, so many things to share. Let me also see if I can, I'm going to see if I can use my new StreamYard features. I have a lot of drama with StreamYard, but so far I'm on the pro plan. So good morning, Lloyd. And let's see also if I can adjust this a little bit. Let's see. That is, those comments are okay. So I won't have to do the adding in the banners. Good morning, Eric, right? It's Eric at the Hub US. I remember from last time, I believe. John, good morning. I see you guys in the bottom right, so I'll just say hello as I see you come in. But so first of all, give me a confirmation on the audio video. I think everything should be fine. I got to a good jump. It's a little dark here today, which is kind of weird. So I've got my light on in the side. But let me set the stage for what we're going to do today. My voice is sounding a little better. I have fully caffeinated up. I may take a break to fill my water cup. I have some gum. I do not have my saline spray. What I'm going to do today is explain, the premise is I have many real world clients, but I have a situation that I'm going to explain that's exemplary of not only the truth, but the marketing that I'm going to be doing, which is outcome-based marketing, where you can do the same thing with these tools. I also want to explain how over the last 3.5 weeks, the vacation time, I was able to use real world clients, real world interaction with the software to refocus and present the materials of what this does, what the benefits are, what the features are, in a way that I think reflects the modern marketing of our world, but also reflects that the real opportunity here is to present it in its simplest form possible. In other words, instead of talking about the endless possibilities of the thousands of nuances and the tools and the procedures, if I just keep it really simple, ultimately what I've got here with MinuteLaunch is a modern marketing tool with CRM and client interaction. It does 1,000 other things, but if I just talk about it in those terms, I got instant recognition. And that is to say, I was able to get this week alone, several people who had called me needing help to instantly understand what the value proposition was and to immediately sign up. And I think that's a remarkable, accomplishment that I can share with you guys on how I achieved that. Because at the end of the day, what we're talking about here is what it is that you're going to do with this for your livelihood. You guys who are listening now are either going to use it for your own business, or you're going to use it for an intermediary business where you're an agency or an implementer. And if we talk about what's been working, it's much, much easier to replicate that for yourself. All right. So let me start out. Let's do a little introduction to the modern interface. For that, we know that Spence is going to share the screen. So let's do a screen share where I put up just the window, and I'm going to pull this out. I'm just going to pull the window up of a demo site that demonstrates how in a couple minutes we can do the kind of crazy stuff that used to take months, weeks, years, and thousands of dollars. I'm also going to adjust the screen here. Let's talk about what we see on the screen. Also, I'm going to adjust this slightly. And I'm going to turn off the comments so that doesn't get confused. It looks like the comments are coming into the space. First concept. In terms of what it is that we're offering or selling, I want to share with you. This is after what? July, August, September, October, November, December, 6 months. The whole idea that arose from the hot tub has turned into a simple, single plugin, modern interface. And I just want to prove something. If I turn off the simple site focus and I just go to the plugins, instead of your typical stack of 122 plugins, at the end of the day, all that you really need to make this work is one plugin, which is the plugin manager. Typically, and by the way, watch what happens when I deactivate this. This is really my whole stack now. I have the plugin manager. I don't need the file manager. That was there just because I was doing some editorial stuff. I have the MinuteLaunch canvas block, which is included. I have the Fluent SMTP, which acts as the mail person. Notice not the mailman or the mailwoman, just the mail person. And I have the Fluent CRM. Now, in many cases, you're going to want to have WooCommerce, or you're going to have Fluent Cart as the transactional engine. But I just really want you guys to keep in mind everything that I'm going to do and I'm going to show you today. Instead of 122 plugins and 100 hours of figuring out how to set it up and design it and whatever is being done just mostly by turning on one plugin and adding these 3 free plugins. Hang with me. This is going to be important because the whole premise of MinuteLaunch has been extended now into launching a business in minutes, not months, with essentially nothing else to buy. When you get involved in MinuteLaunch, I've now made it possible that you can, I'm going to shrink this down a little bit. I made it possible that you can now get started on a self-hosted situation. A couple weeks ago, months ago, I said I wasn't sure I was going to be able to do that because that is the kind of thing that worried me where somebody might take the software and run away with it. But with the MinuteLaunch plugin manager, I was actually able to achieve something that I'm very excited about. It's an integration for a service. The open source plugin of the MinuteLaunch plugin manager connects all the various virtual plugins and 1 or 2 physical plugins. And for $97 a month, somebody's able to get all of the traditional software if they still use it. By the way, this is likely going to go away. 90% of this is going to go away. Just don't need it. You get all of the AI software that I'm showing you here, plus you get the AI keys, which I want to make a comment on the side. Today, I'm going to show you how there's nothing else to buy. When you've been using my tools, including the agentic connectors, the MCPs, to have Claude or if you like ChatGPT, the hippie dude Gemini connected to your site through a cursor or a Claude interface on the desktop, you would need to pay for your license. And what's happening is Anthropic, I'll just tell you what it is. If you go to ChatGPT, OpenAI, or you go to Anthropic and you buy the license to use their desktop tool or to use the pro versions, you're going to typically spend $20 just to open the door, $60 for anything meaningful per month, and probably $100 to $200 a month if you're a hardcore user. I'm giving you an API key that I've been demonstrably testing and showing allows somebody to get the same capabilities without having to pay $1 more, which is a really bold statement, and I'm really surprised by it. I use OpenRouter, and I provide the keys. And I think the reason this is working is because they have sort of a wholesale model. And when I give you the keys and I can manage how much usage you get, apparently it's very favorable in terms of how either the desktop tools use that allocation or the agentic tool in the site uses it. So for one price of $97, the only other thing that you would want to buy would be some kind of SMTP service. But for many of you, you're probably already using an SMTP service that you could get away with using. Maybe Brevo or SendGrid or Amazon, or even if you're using Google Workspace, you can get away with a minimal amount of SMTP. For myself, Brevo is the way to go because it's so easy to set up. They've got amazing other capabilities, but their deliverability is in the high 90s%. And the cost of it is like for a real business, not like a fake business. It's $9 a month for 5,000 emails. $18 starts getting into, more stuff. But really, even with the basic, if you're on starter, you could end up spending, I don't know, $17, $29 a month to send 20,000 emails. I mean, come on. If you get a pro, user who's sending 100,000 emails a month, $69. Okay. So that's the only other thing that I'm not going to provide is I'm not providing SMTP because that's like providing, water to somebody to drink. It's drink as much as you want, but pay for your own water. The hosted version offers the opportunity to get some important things. Unlimited email support from me, which is I think a huge effort on this. The optimized hosting, the Cloudflare CDN, backups, and security. So this is for somebody who rather have Spence running the back end, the framework, making sure everything's perfect. And both of these have affiliate revenues that are built in and discounts as well, right? So if you yourself have multiple sites, there's a discount. If it's for a client, you get $20 out of the 97, you get $40 out of this, you get $97 out of this, you get 20%. The hosted plus is just essentially the hosted with email marketing built in that I set up for you and run one email a week. Make sure that your list keeps growing. All right. So with this simplicity, all one needs, one plugin, everything else is included, really simple. When we turn this on, the thing that got me where I think we're at today, which is the biggest advancement, was look at the dashboard even with just a couple plugins. And I don't know if you guys agree with me on this, I kind of have been fooling myself, I think, for many, many years about WordPress, because with WP Launchify, what I have been doing for all these years is helping people who are confused about how hard WordPress is, right? So they've either built a Frankenstein monster or have shiny ball syndrome, i.e. little old lady swallowed a fly, swallowed a spider, swallowed a bird to catch the spider, the rest. And the reason was because WordPress is schizophrenic. The ability to do so much leads to thousands of people building random stuff, and then customers come in and have to put it together. But I think the real revelation I had about the craziness was how much time it took to set up a site. So based upon, as you guys know, the influence of a few of you in real world, it was presented to me, Spence, do I need to understand for me and my clients how to install themes and then install plugins and then set up the plugins, then put in the license keys and then go into the theme and set up a header and then set up the header navigation and then do the design and then do a color palette. And then with each of the plugins that having random amount of this has to be on for that to be seen, which order do I put it in? And then when I do this, where do I get my keys? And how do I attach this to security? And I could go on and on and on and on. And it sounds like somebody seriously in an institution, with all respect, like just talking to themselves. Versus I install one plugin for free. I click the button that says Simple Site Focus. I now have only two screens to worry about. The main screen has one button. Unlike WordPress, you click this button and it just updates all of the software. Everything except for the canvas block is virtual. And it provides you ownership and control because everything it makes and does is yours. You never lose it. But while you're a subscriber, it just manages all this one button. And you can toggle on and off if you wish the various components. Notice the total count of components. It's very low. If you wish, you can continue using my brand new super powered MinuteLaunch Fluent MCP. That, notice, has replaced the Claude MCP and the Cursor MCP because now we just have one MCP. It's called Fluent MCP. By the way, if you were curious, we had a wonderful Black Friday sale for those people who are still interested in buying once for a lifetime, those who bought this, high five to you, because once again, just like those of you who bought the 250 Minute Launch AI Club, highest fives reward to you, because when I sold this on Black Friday, this is a one-time lifetime purchase of the MCP. It was $497 for one site, $997 or $1497. Now that is $1497, $29.97, and $39.97. In other words, if you want the Fluent MCP and the MinuteLaunch Canvas block, God bless you. You can buy it once and take advantage of all this cool stuff, but notice the price tripled, which I said it was going to do. So this is an option for those who want it. But for the majority of people, you can use the Fluent MCP if you want, and it provides infinite amounts of power with your Claude or your Cursor desktop. I still use it. But the real revolution was Simple Site, because with Simple Site, we have all of that power in the dashboard. I'm going to get to that. The second button is just the unified Get Started guide. Spence's clients, you guys, friends, customers, colleagues, common sense, sat in front of the dashboard. And with all of the things that this could do, a billion things, I saw blank stares and glazed eyes. And the reason for it was simple. Too much, too soon, too complicated. It occurred to me, what if I just simply boiled the whole outcome array down to a few key things and just have a simple user guide? This is going to be further exemplified by what I'm going to talk about with the marketing stuff, which is selling outcomes is easier to go. So even this is going to become just outcomes. What do I mean? How do I onboard a new contact that I just met at the hockey game and send them an email, add them to my CRM, and make sure they know about my product? How do I make a beautiful sales and landing page? How do I dynamically create different journeys for users? Those are outcomes that don't talk about the tools. Those are like a menu in a restaurant talking in a story about what is the delicious dish you'd like to eat tonight. I would like the flavors of Southeast Asia. I would like to enjoy huevos con chorizo because that sounds really exciting and spicy for breakfast. That's different than let's make a list of all of the kitchen utensils and ingredients you need to make this dish. One is the outcome of getting the instant satisfaction of what you need and want as the customer. One of them is talking about how you're going to get all the stuff and talking about the stuff you're going to need to make it. They're totally different. And by the way, I want to, for a moment, discuss how I got to that conversation. When you sit a customer in front of your product and the customer is sort of eyes glazing over, you ask them questions. That's what I did with several of you, and also my friend Vince DePinto, who came over, brought me lunch. Vince and I have known each other 59 years, but he's been working with me since forever on a lot of this stuff in terms of, being the end user and his customers. And he quite literally went apoplectic when he looked at what I had before this, because it sort of swapped one level of complexity of WordPress for another. When I reinvented this and I sat him back down in front of it, he instantly got it. He's, okay. This is the thing that manages all the plugins. This is the thing that tells me anything I need to know. When I go into the Simple Site, even he understood this. I can still toggle the drawer at the top to see what else might be under the hood if I still need to get to that. But just by toggling that button, I have a Simple Site. Another aspect is these windows that toggle the three aspects of Simple Site. One is to just set up the whole site once instead of going into cadence and the nav menus and the elements and the custom palettes and the blah 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 blah. I just go to one thing, set it up, or ask my dude on the desktop, or ask my dude in the site to set it up. Hey, here's what I want to set up. Make it look like this website over here. As far as building, we've talked about this before. What if we got rid of the metaphor of having to go build separate pages, separate posts using page builders and even navigation. And instead, we just had a simple interface that anybody can understand that has blocks that can be created manually or automatically by the dude in the site or the dude on your desktop, that can be imported in a second to make something gorgeous, and that can be basically powerful enough to run all of the other things that you need in the site, including automatically generating forms, automatically generating your e-commerce, your checkouts, your products, and making these things always saved so that when you're working with it, if you ever run into a problem, everything you built is already still here, ready to reuse, repurpose, restore, save, share, create. So now this becomes a tool that while you're working with it, either manually with the help of AI on a mobile device with voice, everything you make and do is automatically saved, shared, memorialized to be repurposed, reused. And it's simple enough to understand. So when I click preview site and it just shows me whatever's on the page, let's say I decide I want to do something else. I could, for example, import a file that's universal. Here's from Doug Sheehan, one of our members, who's doing amazing stuff. Doug did a video with me yesterday where he created his awesome site. And then instantly, did I just say instantly? Instantly, this is what Doug built on his own. This is crazy town. We're in a different world. Doug is an amazingly talented person, but he is self-admitted not a graphic artist, and he's an old school geek like me. But he instantly created this outcome after our show, the free video from Thursday, I believe it was, Wednesday maybe. And he, using Simple Site, has all the power under the hood that I was able to just instantly go get and repurpose. Now, if I don't like that, I can look at one of my previous things and just restore that. No big deal. If I want to build something for a client, I could just make the thing for the client, store the elements, the blocks, store the content, store the chat, store any of the things of the research, any of the data. But if I just do the whole site, I can instantly go back to whatever. Just pause for a second and think about the insanity of working with traditional WordPress right now, where how would you achieve what I just did? You would have to go in and adjust or import the whole entire site, or you'd have to dick around with the theme and then the blocks and then the custom page builder and then the this and that. And everywhere along the way is a sand trap waiting for you to fall into it. And I think that's the important part, is I'm saying what we need to consider here is how fast this works. And I'm going to get to the other components, but if you look over here, we can even save and share whole builds here, right? So if I loaded this one, I don't know what's in here because I was doing this while I was testing. We can see that we can load a whole hero layout, or we can go look through previous builds. These are all the same, but let's scroll back even older. Let's restore this version, for example. Pretty awesome. Okay. The whole thing is with an outcome based upon how could we quickly add new prospects, new leads into our CRM, give them something that makes them interested in what it is we have to offer. So Fluent CRM is a big part of that. But working with the CRM is a pain in the butt because the free plugin is awesome. The CRM is awesome. But when you start getting into the pro features, you first of all have to use the pro plugin, which, by the way, it's included if you're part of this. But just the things you have to do, the way they design the pro features, didn't sit right with me. I work with clients every day. I have 50,000 people on an email list. I thought we could do better. So one of the key features here on the desktop version is, what if I just want to add people to my CRM and I just say, let's say John Lawler. I just copy or paste or type or say, Even better, right? I'm making up your email here, John. Say John Lawler, Lawlor, and it's john@lawler.com. Okay. If I just put some stuff in there about a person, and I'll make up your phone number, by the way. 312-555-1212 is the phone number. So imagine you're copying and pasting, using one of the tools. You have data from an email. You talk into it about adding a new prospect, a new lead. Wouldn't it be cool if you could use that information to build, but if you just click the contact, I screwed up, by the way, because I hit the wrong button. If I just copy and paste this again, Spence is always goofing off here with this. I'm going to do it one more time. I hit the wrong button. John Lawler, Lawlor, john@lawler.com, 312-555-1212. What I meant to hit was this button here, contacts. I built in a tool that will automatically extract the content data from any kind of things you have. Notice, if you could see this, John Lawler, I can add him to Fluent CRM. And when I do, I can see that he's automatically a contact. Now notice John doesn't exist in here otherwise. He exists in my real thing. But now I can do something like, okay, send a beautiful email to John Lawler using a style that looks like a piece of real paper made out of a word processor with typing, but it has a hand signature from my AI assistant, Fernando, saying, Fernando, Spence's AI assistant, and say, hey, John, thanks for joining up. I hope that you're going to use MinuteLaunch and be a complete success. Looking forward to that in 2026. Cheers, Spence. Now, imagine this kind of response was also saved, as I'll show you, as a skill. So I don't have to repeat myself. I could just say, use the new email skill. When I do this and I choose whichever engine I want, I'm using the dude of my favorite choice built into the site. I don't have to be using the dude on my desktop. So I'm not spending any money. If I have multiple team members who want to use this tool, they all can share with me the context, the content, the experience, the builder, the templates, the preferences. This is really revolutionary because you instantly get a single person or a team to be able to use everything with the same output, maybe better than the dude on your desktop, but nobody has to install that extra software. Nobody has to pay for that extra stuff. Nobody has to worry about, oh, John did that on his desktop and he didn't send it up to GitHub like Spence taught him to share with the team. It's all inside of the private box that we own and control. It is truly a platform. Watch what happens when I hit this. So now I can create automatically, using the desktop and voice or a pre-made skill, something to send to a person like John that I can save and reuse as a skill, as a template, as a block, or whatever. The style of this is entirely up to me, but the tool can make something beautiful. He made it like with lined paper. I could tell him to modify that, but like for right now, not a big deal. First thing I could do is I could just save a block. It says intro email and, typed with lined paper. I'm going to save this block so that in the future, I could just reuse it by calling it, use the block called template with lined paper. I could also save this as a skill. But before I do that, notice I've got this letter. Wouldn't it be super cool if I could just send this to John and other people? So if I want to send it just to John, I click email and I just type John. And now John is in my CRM and I go, welcome, John. And I send it to him. I'm going to go view him in a second with the view contact, but I could also send it to him to Gmail, because if I copied for Gmail and I went over here to Spence's Gmail, this does something that Gmail can't do by itself. I can paste in this gorgeous HTML formatted email that Gmail cannot do. And good morning, Karina. I haven't seen you in a while. I was thinking about you last night when I was getting your emails. Hope you guys are doing well. Really incredible. By the way, Karina, for Dr. Early, you guys need to be all over this stuff. But the point I'm making is I can either manually put this into Gmail, or I could send it to John by leveraging on top of my Fluent CRM. Now, why is that relevant? Watch what happens when I click View Contact. Here's John's CRM contact, and I go to emails, and oh my gosh, now I have a record with tags or otherwise of what I sent to John and why instantly in the CRM for continuity. John is asking, what would I say? Oh, save. Okay, well, let's do that. Let's say John's come up with a good example. Let's say you're doing research. First thing I want to point out is we've got the dudes in here. I don't show John's favorite, which I think you're still into Perplexity, but I do show Gemini and GPT and Sonnet and so forth. I can easily add Perplexity, no problem. Why not do the research here? First of all, really quickly outline a 3-step process on how to be successful as an entrepreneur in 2025 with AI and MinuteLaunch.com. Just really quickly, give me 3 paragraphs. Okay. This isn't the great research, but I just want you to understand the dudes in here. Well, John is, I knew you were going to say that. John's a fan of Perplexity and Notebook LLM. I'm going to add those as far as APIs so you can use those directly. How cool would that be? But the point is, he's done some research here, okay? And he's given me an output, right? And I can decide if I want to use that research to make a topic to save for later. So I'm going to say, turn that into a beautiful piece of content I could send formatted via email, make it look business professional, have it signed by Fernando Spence's AI assistant. So the idea is you can have it save and sort stuff 2 ways. Oh, even better. But remember, when you're using the dude here, this is a different API key. It's not going to log into your account. That's why you're not paying for it, by the way. But it doesn't matter because while he's doing this, I'm going to show you how I could save it a couple of ways. First of all, if I want, I just click save, and I'm able to call this chat research on John Lawler question. That saves the whole context of the chat. Number 2, the block itself, whether it's the research or whether it's the stuff that he made for the email, save that as a block. Okay, so John Lawler research. I'll call this, I'm going to create some other categories here, but like save that. Number 3, publish it. Make a post or a page and automatically publish it or save it as a draft. Let's just save it as a draft page. John Lawler research. 3 ways at least right now to save it and publish. And so now I've got it saved in 3 different places in 3 different ways. And why is this awesome? If I want to go back and I refresh the page, look, John Lawler's research is right here. I can reuse that. I can even make a skill, the 4th way. If I go back to the chat, it's there. If I were to go to the pages, if I open this up, I don't know if I actually click the publish, but it does work. If I go to pages and I look at all pages, we should see that there's a page here that's in draft mode. And I perhaps didn't publish it, but when it publishes, you can just bear with me. You know that can save out. Leave it at that. What if we took outside stuff? That's really remarkable. So I don't ever use Perplexity. I know you love it. I don't like it anymore. But let's say I did this. This is besides the point. I don't think I would use Perplexity. I would use the dude in the site, because all the stuff you're wasting your time and energy on with Perplexity and Notebook LLM, you could do in the site for yourself or your client. Like, why are you going to use another LLM and all this stuff outside? You could be building it in your own space, all of this stuff. But if you wanted to, and let's just see something I previously looked at. I don't know. I'm just going to grab some garbage here. Okay. I could copy any or all of this stuff, of course, and do the same thing. I could create a new block, or I could create a new email, a new post, or have the dude do it, right? I could just say, take this data and format it into a beautiful post that you save on my site. And then I just paste it in. And so what I'm doing is memorializing that stuff. The dude in the site, just like with the MCP connection, understands how to do stuff, connect to the site, memorialize it. Now, I want to emphasize too that I'm using the guy in the site because I have started to use the guy in the site exclusively, and you'll find out why, even in many cases over doing it myself on the desktop guy, because this continuity is really awesome. You'll notice here, all my chats, all my blocks, all my skills are perpetually saved. So I have a record building in here of everything I've ever said and done. Why do I want to mess around when I do that with outside stuff anymore? I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm basically going to get to the point where this stuff's ridiculous. By the way, let's say I create this and I just want to send this to John in raw format, but I also want to send it to other people. What if we use the contacts? Here, let's send it to many people based upon any of, watch kits, any of the Fluent CRM capabilities to create a segment. What if I searched for anybody who had the advanced tag? What if I only wanted to send to subscribed people, only people on the main list, only people with this name, John or Hope, or maybe Spence, not Hope, Spence. So what do we have here? This is a new feature. This feature is now a direct connection into your Fluent CRM. So now I can add multiple people by a cohort to automatically get anything that's saved, created, shared. And when I do, and it's sent out to these recipients, I can go view any or all of those contacts to see what was sent to them. Really, 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 really powerful. Yeah. Yes, but I'm not there yet. So good question. I'm going to give you a sneak peek, but the same skills and capabilities here. Imagine if the subscribers to your site had their own agentic partner on the front of the site, which is what you're asking. What if, for example, let me switch to Spence focus mode. What if, for example, I have a mobile device, whether it's a single site or, like for all my members, like you guys will soon have, or it'll be each client gets their own site. Either way works. What if this front end thing was safe for somebody who was logged in as a member to remember anything they wanted to know about the content or the context or the information that you have to deliver, or even to the extent you want to give it to them, information from the outside world? Ta-da! That is the kind of interface that will allow the experience for your visitors to be completely unique. Hey, I'm paying Bob Smith to know about RV maintenance. Hey, I'm paying John Lawler to know about photography. Hey, I'm talking to Susie Johnston to know about how to cook enchiladas or something. Whatever. That's the kind of interface that is going to be possible. And I want to show you the next part, which is, you kind of took the words out of my mouth. I'm going to show you the mobile interface here, and then I'm going to show you on the site, because one of the things about the mobile interface is that with Simple Site, I've now added, and I have not fully tweaked this out. Can you guys see? This is my phone. This is my phone. This is my phone on drugs. This is the experience that somebody could get. Like, it was presented to me yesterday. I was having a conversation with Dave Madden. Wouldn't it be cool if while you're in your RV or at a coffee shop or whatever, you could just be like, or walking, press the button and go, hey, tell John Lawler he's a great guy, or hey, notify Lloyd that I'm coming to dinner, or being Harry Maisel and I, with me and my kids. You're at the Hawks game, like the image, and you want to take some friends or new colleagues and turn them into customers. let me tell you the backstory in that, and then I'll get into this. I went to the Hawks game with my kids and a girlfriend of mine and her kids, all adult kids. Here's what happened. Here's a picture of me and my kids. We're Hawks fans. That's my son Jack and my son Zach. My kids like AI and they use Snapchat, so they dicked around and they go, "Hey, Dad, look at you. You're an old man." This is a little, by the way, too scary, a little too realistic. I hope not too soon. I said, no, let's use MinuteLaunch AI and the built-in image editor and do something more like this. Let's turn us from Hawks fans into Dallas Stars fans, even though we are Hawks fans, just ironically, smoking cigars. My kids normally don't smoke cigars. Now, it's interesting because my brain was thinking, if I was at the Hawks game with a bunch of business colleagues or friends or people I just met, and I wanted to guarantee that they shared my brand, my message, my website, I would take a picture of us sitting at the table at the game, do something funny and amusing with AI. Thank you. I like it better as Sox fans. And I would send it to these people instantly. Why? Because they would share it with everybody they know. They would share it on Instagram. They would share it on LinkedIn, probably. They would share it on Facebook. They'd share it maybe even on their email lists. If you're in business and a human being, the way you're going to get attention today is by sharing things with humans that humans understand is a useful and amusing thing. And you don't have to worry if you've got a brand and if you've got a singular page site, like I'm showing you, how to get the job done, because just doing that enough will make the people automatically add you into their email list and add themselves onto your list. So here's where we're going to go into this next phase. Imagine I'm at a WordPress conference. I'm at a business meeting. I'm at an RV show, a gun show. I'm at a hockey game. I go to dinner. There's a cocktail party. There's 3 or 4 strangers. How cool could it be? You just go, hey, let's take a selfie. Bing, bing, bing. And you look like, oh, look, we're in Star Wars or Wizard of Oz, or even just put funny mustaches on. You go, oh, let me send this to you. What's your email? What's your phone number? And they either just talk into your phone or you talk in your phone, just like I did now, right? So let's do this together. Even though I have my phone, let's go into mobile mode here. And I want to show you, by the way, this is an example of what this would look like on different phones, right? Ignore the top thing because I'm logged in, but like this is how friendly it should be, which was how can you do it with just pressing a button and not get distracted? And, you know, it doesn't have to be more complicated than this, but this is what we got. And you can see even when you stretch it out to tablet, it looks and acts pretty nice. Okay. So let's just do this for fun. I don't know if this is going to work yet. I just turned this on this morning, but it's going to do the same thing I just showed you, except we're doing it in a way, quite frankly, that would represent being on a phone. Okay, let's try it. Now, what's interesting here is I'm going to do it verbally. Okay, I'm hoping it'll work. If not, trust me, it will work. Okay. Add Susie Smithy, spelled S-U-S-I-E, at susiesmithy.com, SUSIESMITHEY.com. Her phone number is 312-222-2222. Okay. So if I was on my iPhone or Android or whatever, you kind of know what happens. It just automatically, that was, for some reason, I don't know why, that was me. It didn't work. Let me just do it. When you're on your iPhone or whatever and you talk into it, it automatically just saves it and records it. So you don't have to have a separate microphone, but I'm using this desktop tool. Let me try it again. Susan Smithy at susansmithy.com, SUSANSMITHE SMI, I'm sorry, Spence is having a moment. Reset. Hold on. Let me try something. Let's do a rock star that I can remember, because that's funny. Okay, let's do it. Let's do something I can actually remember. John Lennon, JOHNLENNON, John at Beatles, BEATLES.com. His phone number 312-111-2222. Okay. So if we do it this way, what is wrong with my phone exactly? I have no idea. I mean, what is wrong with my transcriber's torturing me? So forget the voice thing for a second. John Lennon. John at. By the way, the reason I'm having so much trouble is that for some reason, Whisper Typing took what was an awesome, perfect product, and they messed around with the keys that I used to trigger it. Don't break your products, kids. 111-1111. Okay. Add to my Fluent CRM on main list and create a tag called Beatles. Now, the CRM is able to take the help of the AI when you're doing it mobile and just add John to the list of contacts. And I should be able to see my contacts here. This, again, the interface may or may not be working. I'm seeing an error loading, but I'll get this working this morning. Let's actually see if it added it in. The basic concept of this, which again, I'm happily able to say may or may not work, because I just invented it this morning, is that what if we literally made it as easy as that? It actually added them in. So that's pretty awesome. If we can make it as easy as that to just add and manage a contact, it didn't add them to the list, but it did add the tag Beatles. If we could just say, oh, here's a picture, John and Paul and Ringo, and we make something funny. Look, let's make us look like the Rolling Stones. What's your email, John? What's your phone number, Paul? How do I get in touch with you, Ringo? And then we have pre-made follow-ups. Simple site can take care of all of the things we need from there, right? So if I say, take an image from the media library or add this image or whatever, but let me just do a quick example. Hey, make an email that looks like it's from a recording company named Spencer's Records and send it to the following recipients that says, hey, John, Paul, and Ringo, I think you guys might have a chance. I'd love to sign a deal with you. Love, Spence. So the AI can automatically create something fun and campy. And then using the contacts, I could just pick the people out of there that I want to add instantly and send it, right? Create an HTML email template of that, please. So if you follow what I'm saying, this becomes an all-in-one tool, mobile friendly, that is acquiring all of your contacts. It's going to have a QR scanner and also a sharing capability so that you can acquire stuff just by taking a picture or seeing a QR code or the words, and it can translate it. It can create like this. Here's an email follow-up, and I just go, I can tell the dude to do it. I just say John Lennon, and I could send it to John and Paul and Ringo, right? So John at Beatles, and I could say, I think Ringo, if he's in there. He's not in there, so I could just add him in. And when I do this, the actual email gets sent, and I can also do cohorts and stuff like that. But the idea is if I send this, I can do this from the phone on the spot, and instantly I've got all the contact information. I have tags that say where and how and what and why. I've got something to talk about. When I go back and I, look at that particular contact, John or whomever, I'll be able to see what it is I've done in the past. And if I'm interested in selling them something, I could send them a sales page. I can send them the follow-up. I don't have to worry about a third-party thing, but I can also have the tool go out and do some research. So for example, I'll go and see the email, but if I go, for example, do some quick research on John Lennon and give me a 1-paragraph summary of his important information. It's a ridiculous prompt because of course it's John Lennon. But the point I'm making is It can do the research, tell me what's important, and or just automatically create something from that, right? So I could say, turn that into an amazing email. Or I could say, turn it into a blog post or a page or make a product, whatever I want to do. All of this is being done from the interface that's mobile in the dashboard or friendly on the desktop in the dashboard. And everything I'm doing and saving is here in a box for future use by my dudes. And I just want you to contemplate how big of a deal this is compared to using outside tools. No extra cost, full continuity, something super fast and easy to acquire things from interesting people. And the dudes can do the other tools. Like I'll show you in a second, but like if I, again, sent this out, I could just send it directly to John himself because there's an individual here. I could say, hey, John, made this for you. And I can CC myself if I want to send it to me outside of the system, sent all, and the rest is history, right? So super, super easy. Let's go over here, by the way. You guys know that I have the capability built in with the MinuteLaunch image editor to make AI images, right? It uses the same open router capabilities. And I can also have a default front-end page if I want, where I put that on. So I can either use it from the dashboard or I can use it from the front-end page, to John's earlier. So for example, if I added a new page, AI images, right? And I just put that shortcode in, I can display it on this page. Super cool. I'm going to just use it in the dashboard for right now. So if I use this tool, I just go to the media library, create AI image. And if I want, I can start with something that is already an existing image on the internet, which is another cool tool. So if I said, let's say, Media Hub image import, I could say, John Lennon, there's going to be 8,000 images of this. I can pull in an image, use it as a starting point, and modify it from there, right? So sometimes, by the way, Google gets a little unhappy when I ask it to do this, but let's see if it works. If I go, now I took this image, I added to the media library. If I go to my media library, create AI image, and I just select that image, let's see if it'll let me get away with. I think it will, using Nano Banana, turn that into something else. Take the reference image and put him in a Chicago Blackhawks jersey at a hockey game smoking a cigar. Kind of like the same picture. Okay. You guys have seen this because this is one of the first creations. Having the media hub that you can save, share, recreate with AI, with imported images, is a really awesome creation tool that saves you a lot of effort and I think money from outside, because this is actually using the key that we've included from Open Router. For some reason, I think I don't have maybe the setup on this. Hold on. I may not have actually set up in this demo site the API key. So watch this. If I go over to the plugin manager, we have the API key manager. Notice I have Open Router now and project keys. I can sync from the server. If the keys are installed, you're good to go. If you want, you can override them with your own keys. In my case, I think what happened is, let me just see if I had, with the image stuff, maybe not put in the key. I'm going to go grab a quick Open Router key just to show you what I did here. You guys don't have to do this key part. I'm just going to show you how I do it. I have an API that does this. Open Router for simple site images. John's asking, how do you change the Nano Banana Pro? I'm going to add that in, John. We're already in Nano Banana Pro now, but it's in 2.5. I'm going to add the 3.0 as part of my updates going on this weekend. So let me just paste this key. My voice was holding out the whole time. Okay, I'm going to test that and make sure that actually is connected. that's working. Okay, so now let's go back and see if my prompt is still there. I think it was just the key wasn't installed. Right. Okay, so imagine from my mobile, I take this picture of me, John, Paul, and Ringo. That would be my fantasy come true. And I put us all in Hawks jerseys, right? This is pretty funny. I've now got this image and it's in my media library. It's available for me to market with in any way, shape, or form I want. But what I can do is just literally give it to the dude in one way or another and say, create an awesome, fun email to John saying, it was amazing to have the time to spend with you at the Hawks game. Let's get more of those Cuban cigars next time. Love, Spence. Okay. Oh, of course, I didn't have my mic on. Hold on. I got to do that again. Spence is having some copy and paste issues. Sorry. That's just user error. Okay, I got to press the right button this time. Create a beautiful email to John saying, it was amazing to see you at the Hawks game. Hope we have time to smoke some more Cuban cigars next time. Love, Spence. And make it a signature like handwriting for Spence. Okay. So I just tell it what I need. I give it the reference image. I can also, I'm thinking as I'm talking, I'll probably add the ability to click and select from the media library here so you don't have to copy paste or have it look for the title, which you can do. And now it's created a great email. And I actually wanted to include the image though. So I'm going to paste that in and say, hold on, I'm definitely having some issues. It's user error issues, not site issues. What I wanted to do is I wanted to go ahead and let's make a new one. I'm going to use this. I'm going to say, let's paste in that image. By the way, I don't mind like show you guys sometimes I fumble around because what's happening here is I'm building this interface out and I'm using it myself. And if I keep making stupid mistakes, that just means that I make the interface better. I fix something. Right now, my problem is pressing the wrong buttons on my keyboard to trigger the mic versus not. I want to make sure that you actually make that email, but embed the image in the email. I just need to be specific. Anyway, if you're getting the takeaway, let's go back to the HubSpot part. So here's what happened with my client. My client was using HubSpot and they were charging her and her company and she was doing nothing with this, literally. A base cost of $1,500 a month plus $300 a month to sit and watch YouTube videos with somebody from HubSpot. $1,800 a month. She was using it for basically just collecting emails and sending out email like once a week, like a really basic rudimentary thing, but nobody knew how to use it. Nobody did anything awesome with it. And the HubSpot people were just ripping her off because they knew she wasn't doing anything with it. And yet they were still charging her $1,800 a month. This is not even unusual. If you go to HubSpot, and by the way, Dharmesh Shah, brilliant entrepreneur. This was a tool from 20 years ago that has outgrown, in my opinion, its value proposition because now they're just taking advantage of people being suckers and not knowing that you could do this better, cheaper, faster in different ways. So if you go here to their pricing, HubSpot, it's just such a joke to me. When I see this, I get like scared. Starts at $890 a month for your basic professional. 2,000 contacts. That's it. 2,000 for $900 a month. And then if you want to shell out $3,600 a month, oh, you get the privilege of 5 more seats and you get 10,000. By the way, they also limit you the credits that you can use for various automations. So it quite literally is like going to Vegas and giving them your bank account and your credit card and saying, don't mind, just keep charging me for everything I do here. This is ridiculous. If you go even to the individual, though, it's the same nonsense because if you look at the professional is the only thing that means anything. 1,000 marketing contacts, and you don't even get all of the actual high-end tools. When you go to professional and you talk to sales or you change the number of contacts, as soon as you slide that slider, look at where this goes. I mean, come on, you're adding another $225 a month, $200 a month, $175. If you go up to from 2,000 to 22,000, you're adding $250 for every 5,000 people. Are you shitting me? That would mean for me, my bill that I'm right now doing for, what did I show on Brevo? I think it was $17 a month. I would be paying something along the lines of the same $1,500 because I have a list of tens of thousands, but actively probably 4,500 that are paying customers. And so if I looked over here at Brevo, let's say I send once a week, which I send more, but if I send once a week to 4,000, 5,000 people, right? That's 20,000 emails. On Brevo, it's $26 a month. If I had 20,000 emails on HubSpot, I guess I'm assuming it's multiplied this times 4. That's $1,000 extra email plus the base. I'd be like at $1,800 to $2,000. It's tragic. It's tragic. So the reason that I bring up HubSpot today is not to pick on HubSpot. It's that HubSpot doesn't even do any of this stuff. Now, by the way, here's the email to John. And I could follow up like we were just talking about. And I just say, send it to John. I could do this from my mobile, or I could do it from here. Loved seeing you at the game. Okay. Send a contact. When I view the contact, here's the big takeaway. The email, that custom email with the imagery is here. Okay. If I wanted to do so, I would probably put a link. It says, I mean, I love John Lennon, but I obviously realize he's been gone since 1980, but I would probably put a link in here that says, hey, click here to get my thing. Or by the way, Spence's WP Launchify. I would put something in the actual emails that educates, trains, exposes it so that when maybe even on the image. So when they share the image, then they essentially do the thing that I want them to do, which was get my name, my brand out there. How might I do that? I might go over here and go, let's take this image and let's add, unfortunately, this isn't a great picture of me, but I'm going to say, copy image address. That's a long URL. I'm going to put these two together. I'm going to say something like, show these two guys at a Chicago Blackhawks hockey game wearing jerseys and smoking cigars. And in the picture, say, greetings from WPLaunchify.com. WPLaunchify.com. Now, I don't know if it'll do the words. This isn't a great prompt. But I'm just saying it's possible to manipulate and create scripts that make images that are for branding and marketing. So like if I had a group of fellas or ladies and stuff that I met at an event, I might show a funny picture of all of us, create an image like this, send it to the group so that, again, it took my head and it just left John Lennon out, but and it made me look very weird. But see, you got to be careful when you ask the thing to actually put the words in. It doesn't do badly. It's not perfect. And this is 2.5. But if I spent a couple seconds, I could probably get this better. The bottom line is making something interesting. Actually, yes. So let's go to skills. Notice that we've got these helpers here in the current version of MinuteLaunch AI Creator. I'm going to come back and revisit these things and make these better, but make them part of Simple Site. So instead of having to bounce back and forth, imagine, because this will be probably today or this weekend, imagine we're in Simple Site, we click on Simple Focus, and one of the options is create or add an image. But John is asking about skills. See, I've got these already pre-made skills. Create an FAQ accordion, hero section, pricing table. I can customize those by going to settings, and I can make, first of all, my I use this, by the way, and it worked brilliantly. I used it with Doug Sheehan. I used it also later when I was with Julie Clark. You can pre-make your AI instructions. Here's the colors, here's the branding, here's the style. Think like a designer, be smart. Put that in. That's kind of the overarching, how does the tool respond and act? You can even put in the rules from the AI constitution to keep it in line. But you can make your own skills here in addition to the ones I've given you. And this is what I would do. Like, for example, skill name. Create a branded image. And I don't know if this will work. We're going to try. Add WP Launchify to the image of anything. So the skill name is what you're going to, you're going to use. You have to say, create a branded image, right? Create an image with WP Launchify branding. Now, triggers, you can say what words to say. Branded image. Now I'm going to just tell it what to do. With this skill, I want you to take whatever the reference image is and make the output that is requested, but be sure at the bottom of the image, type greetings from wplaunchify.com. Make it in clean white text on a black background behind it so that it's visible no matter what the image is. Now, this is the kind of thing that I can edit in advance, right? Save this skill. And now with Simple Site, I could use the skill. The real trick, which I'm not sure about yet, is I don't know if Simple Site's AI dude is fully integrated yet, but I think he is with Image Creator. Let's find out. The other thing is I'd still need to give it a reference image. So I'm going to do one more test here, and then we're coming up on the top of the hour. If I go over here to my media library, if I have the proper names, right? So see, this is John Lennon, right? And just to make sure, John Lennon. I'm going to make sure that John Lennon is the name. I'm pretty safe that it's going to know to use John Lennon. If I go ahead and make sure this thing says Spencer Foreman, it does. Okay, now I think I can use the reference images. Let's see. I'm not 100% sure that Simple Site does this yet. The regular Fluent MCP does this. So that's why I'm wondering if it'll do it. Okay. I'm going to go to skill. And it's interesting. Let me refresh the page. Create a branded image. And now I'm going to say using the media library images for Spencer Foreman and John Lennon. I'm curious to see if it does this yet. If it doesn't, this is what I'm going to make happen. So I have a skill that says how to make it, but I didn't actually tell it what to do with it, by the way. I should have said that. Like I should have said Hawks game or something else. And I don't think that this is engaged, by the way, unfortunately, with the image creator to know what to make. So it did the background, but notice it didn't put the images in. So let's try something. And this is where this is going to go. If I was to just grab those URLs real quick, I think that would be helpful. And then let's see if we can trick it into doing it. So you get a kind of like a quick sneak of what this is going to do probably later today when I do this. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open image in new tab, open image in new tab. That way I'll just have these image references. And if I go back here, imagine if we do this skill, create a branded image of the two reference image fellas at a Chicago Blackhawks hockey game wearing Blackhawks jerseys and smoking cigars. And then I'll just grab the URL, right? Copy image address. And image address. And by the way, this is always fascinating to me too, because I don't really know for sure what it is that it'll create. It's probably going to just put those two images as compilation, because right now the Simple Site AI is not directly connected to the image editor API. I think it knows of it, but I don't think it's directly connected. I probably will make this a little better. Right now, I'm guessing it's going to make like a web page that has the two things on it. Yeah, which pretty cool, but not obviously making the fake image. And it's not with the hockey game and stuff. It just did weird references to hockey. But let me wrap it up by saying, because we're always the hour by quite a bit. What I think is going to happen from all of this, and you're going to see more of this over the weekend, is that I've also created a marketing strategy using the $1 Million homepage combined with Russell Brunson and Tony Robbins and other things, that when I was presenting the outcome of what this does and comparing it to the cost and the complexity of other stuff and showing it with the fun, all of a sudden 97, 197, 497, a VIP of 5,000 sounds like a value. It sounds like a bargain. And it's interesting to me because when I build these tools, as you can tell, I get so excited about the tools that sometimes you lose that forest for the trees. But whatever business you're doing or building, you'll find more of this from me. If you just take the 3 or 4 actual pain points that it solves and choose the top 2 or 3, if your solution or your business just does that, and you can put the person into the framework of MinuteLaunch, you've got a situation where just about everything and anything you want to build can happen in minutes with a couple plugins. And if you're here, I'm going to show you because I don't have to torture you or make you wait. So let me just give you a quick sneak of what happened here. If we go into MinuteLaunch, I sat down with my dudes, Lloyd, and this was on the desktop dudes, but now I can actually probably do this inside. And what I said was, I'm having this problem. It's too complex. People aren't understanding the outcome, Vince and whomever. And I said, what if we made a matrix? If we have a matrix of the 10 features that this thing can do, right? Web creation, fluent CRM management, inputting contacts, e-commerce. And we took the 10 benefits of that, right? Easy, fast to use, makes your business better, gets a website up beautifully, Then we took 100 of the competitors that do similar things. I took that matrix, and I'm going to share this strategy. And I said, then use the $1 Million homepage strategy of problem marketing or solution marketing. My dude came up with a list of 200 posts that are stories. And we're working on the format a little, but like, here's the one that inspired today. I switched from HubSpot to WordPress. Here's what happened to my $18,000 bill. And it's a story based on a true thing about what I'm telling you today. And it gives the comparison. And when it's all said and done in 30 seconds, either somebody can read this, or I want to mention, by the way, I'm testing it now, but I don't think I have it on this page. I got notice today that 11 Labs has a new update. So maybe I'll have my voice do this in 11 Labs, or maybe I'll even make a video where it's still going to be me in a clip, but I just do things like the title or some spots, and the rest of it is my voice reading the script. So like a really quick 30-second clip that's vertical. The point is, this would get interest. This would get people interested. I'm using HubSpot and I'm spending $18,000. What are you talking about? So think about this whole concept. You could take the strategies of other really well-known marketers like the $1 Million homepage guy, combine it with a matrix of features and benefits applicable to your clients from MinuteLaunch capabilities. Look at 100 different, 200 different potential competitors that they might be using the products of, and then create, here's the grid, CRM, money saved. Pick a competitor, it's HubSpot. Now I've got a piece of content, which, by the way, I don't think this was Google indexed at all, but if I searched Google, even without a video, there's a fair chance it might have, I don't know, I don't think it did. I put this up yesterday, but save 18,000 HubSpot. I wonder if they even picked it up. No, but they will as soon as, by the way, I publish today's video, 100% guarantee it's going to show up. Like I've shown you that strategy. So what I'm doing is by making YouTube videos, like today's video is got those words in it. Switch from HubSpot to MinuteLaunch and save 18K per year. I guarantee save 18K HubSpot. It may not happen the same day. I literally did that this morning. So like I got to give it a couple minutes, but I guarantee that it will show up in the search results later today, tomorrow, and I'll follow up with you guys on it. And that's it. That's how this basic strategy works. And the programming for that can now be done in the Dude. And by the way, one last thing to take away is compare the complexity of setting up, even though they're powerful, a desktop tool, the cost of the extra API, the unification of having multiple people who have their own desktop tools all in one, along with things like I've showed you before, like for example, inside of MinuteLaunch, where I use the same tools, I have the Fathom. So inside of here, I have all of my calls. If I have a call, with Fred, I can immediately take this information and now follow up with Fred with the beautiful email about what we talked about. And I think that combined with the fun thing and the new onboarding and the mobile interface opens up a lot of doors. Also, don't forget, John asked about it, but like the coaching AI thing in the front, having an interface for the customers who can essentially do the same thing. Maybe not let them generate AI images, but if you had certain like limits and keys, I have an idea about that for my trek flying audience that I'll let you guys know about it. The basic idea is I got 12,000 pilots who have thousands upon thousands of pictures. I have the tools that would allow them to create rock and roll t-shirts of them and their friends. And I was thinking if I just set that up along with free registration and something that helps them organize their machines and their data and their registrations and all that. If I gave them a tool and I said, look, it's $5 a month and you can manage all of your paperwork and you can make cool stuff for you and your friends that you send out to be printed on a t-shirt or hat. I get 12,000 people. I bet you I could get them to pay $5 a month or $50 a year, which starts to add up to be real money. And we'll see whether that works. That would be a good use case on how I would be happily able to give front-end access. Like, look, you can make three cool designs a month, plus you can manage all your registration and show a picture of your machine. We'll see how that works out with the new social tools, but they're all basically going to be built upon the same platform. All right, I hope today was revealing. I'm glad my voice, I'm trying to be less strident because I notice I'm strident, but hopefully today was informative, and I'm excited because now I have some real world clients. I did sign up several VIPs this month, and maybe there's some more where we're going to see more comparisons like this in the future of real world use cases of things you can go out to your clients and just say, hey, this is the platform you should be using. One last thing, I was talking to David about this, Dave Madden. You can participate with this and me on either the level of just referring people and getting affiliate commission. It's consequential, right? I mean, it's 20, 40, 97 a month. That adds up to 240, 480, 1,200 a year. But you can also take it and just you sell them whatever you want. You pay me. And I give you the same wholesale price. So if you took the 97, it's 77. If you took the 197, it's 150, whatever, 157. The point I'm saying is you can mark it up to whatever you want. And then I think that becomes interesting because David and I were talking about, he has clients that if you ask them, how much is it worth? They might come out and go, oh, it's $25,000 to set up would be a great deal. And $100,000, ask the clients what they think it's worth. And if it turns out it's more than the wholesale retail price point, you just mark it up and sell it directly. And I think, John, that would be a good business for you. But either way works for me. I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. See you for the next office hours.